Yeah, good morning, everyone. This is a second edition of our .in domain show, and I'm glad to be here. My name is Suresh. I'm the founder and CEO of nichejobs.com. And today we have with us Paul Singh, and we also call him Indy. So I'll just refer to him as Indy today. Welcome, Indy, and I'm glad he's here today. It's a July 4th weekend in the US, and Indy's in Southern California, so I'll let him talk about himself and see how he got into all this domaining craze.
Yeah, glad to be here, Suresh. Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting together this show. It's an amazing thing you've done for the .in space.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So I've born and raised in Iran. A couple of years. So spent about 12 years in Iran. Moved to Southern California in about '87. Started domaining back in been in sales pretty much since high school. Sold all kinds of things, electricity, newspapers, eventually getting my real estate license, California real estate license, got into real estate for a little bit as well. That took me into websites and domains. So that's been been into that for the past 15 years or so.
Wow. Yeah.
Websites and domainings. Yeah. So I started off in '98 with a company called Biz on the Net. It's an IBM company, Prodigy. And what they were basically was an online directory.
Okay.
So at that time I was given a territory to kind of reach out to companies, reach out to businesses, and get them online, kind of introduce them to the online space, to websites and the whole bit, and domains and the whole thing. So it was very interesting. Initially, it was tough in the beginning trying to communicate. We're talking about early stages of the internet. This is BG, before Google.
Right.
This is when Excite was hot, when we had those, when searches were done through there.
Alta Vista, InfoSeek.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You're dating yourself, Suresh, a little bit.
Well, my gray hair should give it.
I got gray in there too.
Yeah.
But that was before Google. It was an interesting times where we'd have to manually reach out to these companies and kind of explain to them the whole idea of how everything is shifting online. There's no more, Yellow Pages is great, but that's only going to last for so long. The actual where we need to be is you need to be online. So did that for a couple of years. Did that for a year or two, and company was eventually sold to Yahoo and then eventually to AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, a friend of mine, we put together our own directory. We decided, let's take a niche, the food and restaurant space, and so we started Food on the .net. Okay. And this is again prior to your Grubhub and all these other online food sites. So our idea was, we'd call up these restaurants, we'd get their menus, we'd get their business hours, specials, directions. This is before Google Maps, so there's no maps. There's nowhere to get your research off, right? So we had a leads database. We'd reach out and kind of reach out to restaurants. So it was a different selling strategy at that point. Like, you're not dealing with CTOs and CEOs. You're dealing with restaurant managers in the year 2000, where internet is just brand new. And to them, just letting them know that you're going to be part of an online directory at that point, that was enough. Yeah. Once you get into a domain name and they're like, that's too much information at that point. So worked my way into that. Did that.
They understood the concept of being found online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The concept of being found. Right.
I mean, you can't be lost.
No. Yeah. You don't want to be out there in space. You want to be found. You want to be found online. So did that for about a year, and then kind of shifted a little bit, shifted some strategies at that time, started buying domain names right at the end of '99, 2000.
Just before the .com crash.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Some of my earlier ones were like, again, in the food and restaurant space, so it was like foodandrestaurants.com and a couple of shopping related domains. And so one of my earlier sales that's like pretty exciting, like kind of like turned me really onto this was a domain, oneprice.com.
Okay.
Just kind of bought that and, hand regged it. I had it for about a year. Registration was coming up due on it. So I said, at that time there was no NameJet and all these other places to sell your domains. At that time we were selling domains on eBay. So so I posted the domain up on eBay, and for that one I didn't really get any responses. So its registration was coming up. I was debating, should I renew it, should I not? decided to go ahead and renew it for one more year. Let's see what happens. So didn't get any offers on eBay either. So interesting thing, a week after I renew it, I get an offer, starting offer at $6,000 for a $10 domain I registered.
Wow.
Yeah, so that right there, it was like, boom, I think that we found something. Let's just go on with it. Sold that for 5 figures and moved on, and so that was like the introduction into domains. That's how I like really started
Got you hooked in.
Got me hooked. I mean, I've tried different types of investments, right? Stocks, real estate, most recently Bitcoin as well. But the return that you see in domains, like, right now, if we look at it, a 10-time return on my investment right now is not enough on a domain name. On any other traditional investment, stock, real estate, I'm taking that to the bank.
Yeah.
I can't believe this, right?
Yeah.
But I see the value. I see the growth. I see that I have a potential to develop this name out. So there's no reason for me to sell it, at this price right now. So just going back to that, got into a company called Price.com. Started with Price.com and was a part of Price.com for a good 15 years. So 15 years, so I did all kinds of things with Price, primarily comparison shopping engine.
Okay.
It was a CSE, comparison shopping, and dealing with all types of categories. With a generic keyword like a word like price, you can pretty much go across every category.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and so we did. We products, services, we did computing, electronics to insurance and travel, all types of products and services, and dealt with over 5,000 small and medium business clients, SMB clients over the years. Eventually led to director of operations for Price.com and did that for about 5-6 years. With all the new tools that are out there now with APIs and RSS feeds and so forth, we eventually cut our staff from 30 employees to just myself running the show with my team in India.
Okay.
So very small operation, got a lot done. Wore a lot of different turbans throughout those days, sales, marketing, whatever it took to get the job done. So 3 months ago, the domain was sold to a VC firm in Silicon Valley. Okay. And they're kind of redeveloping it now as more of a brand discovery platform with a mobile first approach.
Okay.
So I'm on board right now with a new VC firm as business development. And that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
So how did you transition into the .in space? I know you got the first .com, but when did you get that first IN?
The INs, I think I started the INs around 2007, so I was about 2 years late to the game. 2005, I believe, was sunrise period, February 16th.
Right.
Yeah. So, what got me into it? Statistics don't lie. We look at some of the stats, right? The second most populous country right now, right? That's a 462. Right now, we have 462 million internet users, right, in India.
The number's probably growing every day, right?
Growing every day. Yeah. And we talk about population. I think you mentioned this in your show that India is going to be the most populous country within the next 10 years. You mentioned, or sooner.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen data that says that it'll be. So. Yeah.
So that in itself was initially very exciting to me, right? To look at a big population with a very low penetration rate. We're talking about a 2% penetration rate.
Yeah. In high speed, right? High speed is very few people have them still.
Yeah.
100 million.
In 2007, there was a 2 to 4%, maximum 4% penetration rate. Yeah. Now we're at 34% penetration rate, but if you compare that still to different countries right now, right? You look at USA, 88% penetration. China, 55% penetration. We still have quite a ways to go.
Right, yeah.
That's exciting for me, right? I don't look at that as a negative, but I look at that as very exciting times.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, so to speak, right?
Yep.
We've seen it in the past, and it's coming.
Yep, absolutely. And moreover, you look at your young demographic, right? You look at age 20, I believe it's age 26 and under. We have one of the largest populations of that age demographic right now in the world. These are going to be our future CTOs. These are going to be our future CEOs. These guys are born into this world with mobile and internet. They're already accustomed to all this. So that's a great step right there. And I'm looking forward to that. So that really gets me excited. Another thing that gets me excited is I see growth, right? You're looking about 2014 to 2015, India added 110 million internet users. Just consider that.
Yeah.
right? That's 1/3 of the U.S. population we got online
Right.
in 1 year,
Yeah.
right? Compare that to China, 15 million, and USA, 3 million during that same time frame,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we had 30% increase in users in 1 year compared to a 2% for China and a 1% for India. That's why that's
That's
one of the
huge.
main reasons. Hey, I'm all about IN. I mean, I'm a walking billboard for .in.
Yeah, I
Everywhere
know.
I go, I
Nice.
represent. Yeah,
Right.
I go to the gym with this. I go to restaurants wherever I go, and people approach you. They're inquisitive. They want to know what's going on. So
I was going to ask you in the end of the show, but maybe since you got the T-shirt on, is it for sale?
for you, it's for free, my man. For
Oh,
you,
okay,
it's for
great.
free.
Nice.
Yeah,
We'll have to get it to me someday.
I will absolutely.
All right.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail.
All right. Then I can promote it too, wear it to my
Absolutely.
gym. So,
There we go. Yeah, the more the better, right?
yeah, absolutely. So you got into, the .in, I think we're all big supporters of it. Clearly we believe in India, and there go, we believe in .in. And I know you have a good portfolio of .ins,
Yeah.
what is your strategy on what kind of names do you like? And I know people, like, talk to different people. People have their own opinions and what they go towards. So I know you probably have your own set of principles on what you try to, in terms of when you register or get. So
Absolutely. So, being with Price.com for so long, it's really taught me the value. It's really taught me the value of a premium generic domain name. What it can bring, right? So just to go back on this a little bit. So with Price, we delivered 8 figures in revenue to a client over 5-6 year period with $0 in marketing. All natural traffic, all natural type in traffic. That right there, really taught me that, hey, a generic keyword domain is the way to go,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'm talking about for development purposes.
right,
For development purposes, you have to go with a generic keyword. Now, if you have Uber-like money, sure, you can get a domain like Uber and then spend all the money to develop it into whatever you want.
mm-hmm.
However, you're already a step ahead with a generic keyword domain. People
Right.
already expect. They already know what to expect when they type in that word. They kind of already have they know what to expect on that website itself.
Sure.
So that itself really got me into acquiring keyword.in domains. You can see some of these names, some of these words. This
Yeah.
actually was done by my graphic artist, my
Okay.
10-year-old daughter.
Oh, great.
She put this together for
Nice.
us. Yeah. So, these are just some of the words that I have. Unfortunately, they can't all fit on there, and it was very tough for me to pick these out because,
Sure.
I mean, I have a lot of words in a lot of different niches,
Mhm.
right? And I prefer picking up the base word. I don't like adding the ing to it or the past tense or a present tense or a future tense, ed
Right.
or ing. I prefer just the base word.
Mhm.
So that's kind of been my strategy, picking up keywords. Now, since a couple of these other investors have got in the game, like Shiva and Ace and all our other great friends, they've really blown up the LLLs and LLL, 4Ls.
Right.
So dipping a little bit into that as well, I don't want to miss the boat on that. So picked up a few generic, I don't know, maybe like 50 or so generic three-letter .ins as well. But again, those are just words that I just play with that I'm willing to trade at any time. As for the keywords, I have a plan in place for each one of these words that I buy, right? I buy them for the premise that I will eventually be developing them or putting together a joint venture with someone.
Right.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what's your take on .co.in? Because I know that is always in discussion,
Yeah.
IN and .co.in. I have my own views on that, and
Yeah.
I know .co.in was introduced first. A lot of companies got them early,
Yeah.
and IN came in later, but IN is shorter, and So, what's your take?
I don't have a .co.in.
Oh, you don't have any?
I don't even have one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I've come across some great words, but for me to get into that would be developing a whole new strategy for me.
Okay.
That's just the way I look at it. Like, I can't just go out and just pick up 10 .co.ins. If I'm going to get into the co.in game, I'm going all in.
Okay.
And at this point, I think it may be too late for that to get into that. And there's still some, there's some domains that are available that you'll get great deals on. Even with the .in, frankly, it's way too late to get in right now. I mean, I try to register domain names, hand register, try to search, single word, two word, gone. 5 years ago, these were available, easily available, right?
Exactly.
Now they're all gone. So co.in, I don't touch it, unfortunately. I'm sure there's value there, and I'm sure people are making great money on it. For me, it's just not my cup of tea.
Hmm. Hey, that's fair. People have their own strategies.
Yeah.
So now I see some of the names like dealer and camera.
Cameras.
Cameras. Oh, wow. Cameras. That's a super premium name right there.
Like just getting into these names itself, like with cameras, the way it's a descriptive, one word, memorable name. Like,
Right.
any like an online retailer or even a Flipkart, they can just direct cameras. Anyone that types in cameras, it gets a lot of natural just type in traffic. Anyone that just goes there, you don't, so this is part of the obstacles that I've faced is explaining to CTOs and CEOs that you don't have to change your whole company name to cameras, right?
Right.
You don't have to do that. Use
No,
it as a lead generation tool.
exactly.
That's all you have to do. Either direct it over to your cameras page on your website, or you can use it as gathering email addresses and following up with them and selling them down the road. You don't have to change your entire company name or anything like that. Yeah. So that's a very tough part to get that through to current CTOs and CEOs in
I
India.
know. I think it could, that's exactly a good point because I think they need to understand you can have your brand
Yeah.
and your keyword, or keywords in your industry, There's
Absolutely.
a lot of examples. They just need to, talk to people like us or
Yep.
go online because, all they need to look at is .com, right?
That's
There's
it.
large corporations who own many .com keywords.
Yeah. I'll give you some examples. Loans.com, Bank of America.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have studentloan.com, Citi owns that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Money.com, CNN owns that. Books.com, Barnes and Noble. Shades.com, Sunglass Hut. All these are keyword, right? But
Right.
with the .in, I don't see companies right now in India valuing the .in the way companies have valued the .com over the years. I'm hoping that changes.
Yeah, I think not yet in mass, but we've had some cases, some sales,
Right.
of companies acquiring them. Amazon acquired diapers.in, and but I'm sure there are some which I'm not familiar with, but
Yeah.
maybe pretty soon we'll have a list,
That would be nice.
big
Yeah,
list.
Amazon is ahead of the game. Amazon has always been ahead of the game. I believe they have a couple of other extensions for that word diapers as well.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think for that one they went and got the whole
Smart. Great strategy.
across the world, but.
Great strategy. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean that's a great lesson that companies have to learn, and,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons for the show is actually start talking about these things.
Yep. Yep.
Many of us have been there in terms of .com, and we've seen the progression. And like I said again, this is not you don't have to be super smart per se. All you have to do is see what many have done already, and it's worked. So
Yep. Replicate.
yeah,
Absolutely.
replicate and go on.
Yeah.
So now, I guess what's your pricing strategy generally when let's say a buyer comes to you
Yeah.
and says, it's one of those premium words on your board,
Yeah.
So typically, I know people have their pricing strategies. I know it's just, but when you have a super premium word, it's almost difficult to let go, at a very, so go ahead. What's your strategy and how would you price them?
Yeah. So it's strange, right? So in terms of selling, like number one thing I want to do is I want to find out who the buyer is. So it depends on where the domain is listed. Like if I have it listed on Sea-Doo, you'll get very little information about the buyer, maybe the country. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of these other platforms that you have, like Bodis and so forth, you get a lot more information. You'll actually get the email address and the name of the person, which then that's where you begin your detective work, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you really go deep into it, try to find out exactly who this person is, why they're buying this domain name, whether they have any similar names or so forth. And to answer your question about pricing strategy, I do have a price in my mind, right? So I have what I like to call, it's actually taking it from Frank Schilling, it's called boutique pricing. I
Okay.
have the boutique price in my mind, which is like the top value. This is what I'm looking for, right? Initially, anyone that asks about this is what I'm looking for, either joint venture or this, right? And then from there, then the negotiation period begins, and we go back and forth, and we come upon a price. But yeah, I don't have like I really look at the buyer, and the initial um, price that they've
Offer.
submitted, or
Yeah.
the initial offer rather, yeah.
Yeah.
So the initial offer, and I take all these things into consideration, right? And then I don't respond right away. I usually give it a day, usually give it about 24 hours to get back to them,
Hmm.
and then just take it from there. So
Yeah. I mean, I think people have different strategies. Like you said, Frank Schilling has got his own way of doing things,
yeah,
and yeah, it's important to know who's sending you this initial offer.
yeah,
That always helps a lot.
yeah.
Um,
So let me ask you, would you adjust your offer depending on who the buyer is? Is that
I
part of your strategy?
I think it's I would like to say no.
Yeah,
I would like to say I have a price. I don't care if you're a student or if you're a multi, global corporation, because the price should be the same in my mind,
yeah,
for that particular, like for example, cameras, cameras.com is a multi-million dollar name,
yep.
and India has got a billion people. How many cameras are you going to sell?
Jeez,
And if you want to buy your Google AdWords for every year, think about the price, amount of money you're going to spend. So,
absolutely.
and you're going to own this name for the next 20, 30 years,
Yeah,
or more. So, price is going to be pretty high,
yeah.
you
But
know.
it'll pay off in the long run because your marketing costs will be
Exactly.
yeah,
And also the domain name is a investment that you can resell.
yep, yep.
It's not something that it's not going to lose value in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
I look at it a lot like real estate. It's hand in hand, right? You have a domain name. It's like you have an empty land. You build it. You build a property on your land, right? And then
right.
you rent out, and then you're either making residual income on that. That's your rental that you're receiving on your property. It just goes hand in hand to me, very
Yeah.
much like real estate.
Yeah. I think we just need to get, all the small, medium, and corporations and even the large ones to
Get them on board. Yeah,
get them
absolutely.
on board and start understanding the concepts.
Yep.
So I'm sure it'll get there. It's just a lot of those, for example, in India, there is still a talk about .com versus .in, talk, right? Obviously, they have a choice. The companies do have a choice, but they need to understand they're not going to get cameras.com from anybody,
Yep.
most probably.
Yeah,
They
it's
can't
probably
get loans.com from Bank of America,
uh-uh.
or Citibank's,
Yeah.
finance.com. I think Citibank owns that.
Mhm.
So they're not going to get those.
No.
And, so what are your options for India? That's where it comes down to, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Indy, great discussion. Now let's talk something that you sort of went through, and maybe a lot of people are interested in what's called the INDRP.
Yep.
And I think you had a particular situation which probably is helpful for a lot of our people who are listening to, and including myself. So, yeah, could you tell us a little bit about what you went through?
As a matter of fact, I'm still confused, as to what I went through.
Okay.
It's still not clear, it's actually very shocking when I received, what happens is you get a notice like this from Nixie, package in the mail, and basically it's from the, well, let's go back to it. The domain was Gaadi, GAADI.in, and the
Right.
company that was coming after me was Gaadi.com.
Okay.
So as we know, Gaudi is just a generic word for cars.
Right. Yeah, I
How
think.
anyone can have a trademark for a generic word like that is I don't understand that,
Mhm.
right? So the way this whole thing was presented to me was, really shocking. Like initially when you get this package in this mail, right, you get called a lot of different things. Like you get called a squatter,
Mhm.
right? Like for some reason you have to prove to Nixie that you're worth this domain name, right? Why should you be worth this domain name? It's not enough that you just registered it
Mhm.
and you thought about that, that this is going to be a great name before these guys thought
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
That's not enough. right? To them, there's a lot more involved. So, just so I went through this whole thing with Gotti, like over a year mess, went through two different lawyers and,
Yeah,
spent
it's a
5 figures in fees trying to get this thing resolved. So it's like, I wouldn't spend all this money if I didn't feel I had a right in this name, right? So
right.
I wouldn't go
Yeah.
through two different sets of lawyers. And I truly felt like I was going to win this name back, right?
Hmm.
But unfortunately, the arbitrator, they decided against it. It was weird because on my domain, Gotti.in, I actually had an affiliate relationship with Gotti.com. So we have an affiliate where they're paying me for directing traffic to their website, right?
Mm.
Through an affiliate network. And
Right.
that was actually used against me in the case. That why do you have Gotti.com displayed on your site? Now, I don't know whether the arbitrator really understood affiliate marketing and the
Yeah.
whole thing. And so just trying to explain to him whether my lawyer understood affiliate marketing, I don't even know that, right? So
Mm.
just trying to explain that to the arbitrator was just such a challenge.
Wow.
So long story short, went through a year of that, and at the end of it, it was very disappointing to lose that name because I truly felt like a generic word right like that, you should not be able to trademark. And I guess, going in hindsight, what I should have done is apply for cancellation of their trademark. That's what my lawyers later advised me to do is to
Oh, is
apply
that
for
right?
cancellation. So, with these, I don't understand the Indian law fully. I'm based in California, unfortunately, and I don't have and I have a job over here, family over here. I don't have the time and resources right now to go out there and meet with my lawyers and discuss this case and to
Right.
that level. But lost the domain name, learned a lesson.
Mm.
I think for the future, I think what would really be helpful is if we can somehow bundle in domains with trademarks. I don't know how that's going to work. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's going to be interesting.
it's going to be interesting because I feel a trademark offers you some sort of a protection, not 100% because anyone can go ahead and do that cancellation of trademark,
Mm.
but it somewhat protects you that, hey, you're doing something with this domain.
Right.
You've taken some sort of precautions to protect your domain, and in the eyes of the arbitrator, that may help you win a case in the future. So
Yeah.
I think having a trademark for your names. Now, if you have 10,000 names, you can't go and apply trademarks for all of them.
Right.
But for the key good names, I think it's a good idea to have a trademark on those, or at least apply for a trademark.
That's something we need to look into. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about affiliate marketing and lead gen based on your
Yeah.
experience, right?
Yeah, so we touched a little bit on that, where it's like companies right now don't necessarily need to like rebrand their entire company, right? They can use lead gen and use affiliate marketing as tools, right, to direct traffic to their website or specific pages on their site. So that's just kind of, I've been in affiliate marketing for 15 years, and one of the things I'm excited about is taking this to India. Whatever I've done here with comparison shopping, brand discovery, product discovery, I really want to take it, move it to India, and start developing. I think that's one of the issues now. We see domains are being moved from domain owners to other domain owners. These are domainers.
Right.
Really need to get these domains in the hand of developers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a great step forward if we can start developing out some of our names. I mean, even as a basic lead gen, just to start off with,
Right.
shows some sort of a development instead of just having the names parked and so forth.
Sure. Talking about India, I know you have a visit coming up pretty soon, a domain conference.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Excited
You're
about
going to be a
that.
speaker to it, I believe.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, discussing everything that I've learned about domains. It's going to be exciting. Looking forward to it.
Good, good. And taking a family too, I imagine.
Taking the whole family this time, yeah. Daughter is 10 years old, never been to India, so it's going to be a
Wow.
rude awakening for her. Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be fantastic.
Exciting
She'll
time.
enjoy it. She'll enjoy
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a nice experience for her. So I think, Indy, we are right on time to wrap
Cool.
it up. We'll try
Yeah,
to keep it for 30 minutes, and I
yeah.
think we touched about a lot of stuff, and hopefully, is there I think I'll try to close the show with asking a couple of things. One is, what would you see the improvements you would like to see in the IN space?
Yeah.
So anything that you want to talk improvements?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're in the 21st century now, so I feel like, some of these rules that were developed were pretty archaic. for the .in space, I think we need to take another look at the rules. I mean, I'm not one to say obviously the decision makers are the decision makers, but just taking a look at what some of these other extensions have done,
Hmm.
we should just look up to them and kind of follow their model, right? Don't be so close-minded about auctions, about parking your domain names,
Hmm.
right? There's nothing. Now I'm not talking about getting like registering trademark words. I'm talking
Right.
about generic words, and just in order to renew our domain names, some of us we need to park our names, right? In order to be able to renew the name. So basically, we just don't frown upon that.
Right.
Just have a more open mind to it, and I would love to see more open discussions between Nixie and domainers and investors and developers,
Hmm.
and just kind of laying out the laws, making it very transparent. I want to see transparency
Right.
so that I know exactly what is allowed and what is not allowed. Right now, it's a very gray area.
Hmm.
We need that transparency.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's something I'm hearing from a lot of people. Transparency and clarify a lot of things. And clearly, I mean, the pie is increasing.
Yep.
It's getting to be a bigger pie. So, there's going to be a lot of players in this game as India moves forward. So,
Mm,
it's only going to be more exciting.
for sure.
And any predictions for 5 to 10 years out for India and .in?
I hope 5 to 10 for IN or for our investments.
For our investments and IN,
Yeah.
everything, right?
But I'm hoping we're all driving Bugattis in about 5 to 10 years. That's we always talk about Bugatti money, but yeah, realistically, like 5 to 10 years, I just really like to see development. Yeah, I think it's going to take that long. It's going to take a good 5 years for some of these sites to get out of the hands of domainers and into actual developers. So that's kind of my prediction. And I feel it will be going that way. I mean, the amount of inquiries I've received over the past year, you know, just looking at the amount of inquiries over the past year, I have a very positive outlook towards the future of IN.
Yeah, yeah, good. All right, thank you, my friend. We had a nice little chat, and
That
I'm
was
sure
nice,
you'll be
Suresh.
back. We'll
Absolutely.
we'll have more talks in the future. Hopefully, this is only our second show,
Yep.
so we'll probably have more domainers come in, and at least on a bi-weekly basis,
Yep.
or as much as we can have. So thank you, Indy, for being here again,
Thank you for having me.
and have a great trip to India.
Thank you.
And wear that T-shirt.
That's right. And not only that, don't forget this one, the ru.in as well.
Oh, are you? Wow, yeah,
That's right.
that's cool.
Yep.
It's nice. So thank you again, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you for having me.
All right,
Good
thanks.
one. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to our show today. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about location, location, location. And whether it's online or whether it's in the real world, it's about location. If you want to shop somewhere in India and you know the importance of having a great location for traffic, and for foot traffic, you need a great location. And this is the case regardless of what type of shop you have. And recently I was sitting in a Starbucks and I realized the number of people who are walking in is dependent on where you're located. If the Starbucks was in another location, probably would not be that many people walking in. So, regardless of how big of a brand you have, you need to have great location. Now, in terms of online, great location means great keywords in your business. So, it is really related to the type of keywords you have for your business that brings in the traffic. These are generic keywords. So the one way to look at it is to see what kind of trends are there in Google search for your brand name versus the keywords in your industry. And for most businesses, your brands are not going to be that strong compared to the keywords. So therein lies the great aspect of acquiring these keywords for your business and helping traffic for your website. So, but again, in terms of premium keywords, if you're in a real world, you have many locations that you can choose from, in Bombay or Bangalore and Delhi. But in the online world, for India, there's only two extensions that I can think of that's premium. That's .in and .co.in. So you have two options for the premium keyword. And you could find other keywords, many keywords related to your business, but the premium ones are typically one-worders that define your industry. For example, finance, loans, coffee, and so on and so forth. So with that, I close this today's show, and thank you for listening again.